There's a new compilation of spoken word songs coming out this month that's geared toward young males. The CD is titled Boys Turning 13, and the lyrics deal with the issues and challenges that boys face going through puberty. The songs are written by Detroiter Matthew Jones, and they're performed by local rapper Knowledge. Both are here to talk about the project, but first, let's get a sample.
Congratulations, you have made it. Congratulations, you have turned 13. Now you can be called a teenager. You can't be called a kid anymore. You have reached your first milestone in your young life because turning 13 has a special meaning. Being 13 means you're maturing. 13 means you are getting smarter even in the things that you do. Being 13 means you should have more responsibility in the things that you do. Being 13 means you should not act silly as kids do most of the time. Being 13 means you are respected. Being 13 means your parents will have a little bit more trust in you. Being 13 means you can do other things that other teenagers do that's just like you. Yes, turning 13 is special. Your body starts changing more. Your mind starts changing more. You don't see things the same anymore. You don't do things the same anymore. You don't wear the same kid clothes that you used to anymore. That's being 13.
All right, thanks and welcome to American Black Journal, Matthew Jones. You can't watch that and not be absolutely enraptured by the things that he's saying, and of course the rhythm in which he's saying them. But talk first about the message here. I can remember being 13, and boy, that was a great description of all the things that happened. I now have a 13-year-old. And it's really interesting to watch from the outside as that sort of replays. There's something about this age that's really critical.
Right, absolutely. And let me give you a little history on the CD. About 10 years ago, I was providing services to a 12-year-old, and his mother indicated that they were relocating to a different city. But was there anything I could give her to take with them so that he could use as he became 13? So I went home, wrote down some issues that all 12-year-old boys will experience, and came up with 14 different areas that he would experience. Found a local spoken word artist and put music to it and gave her the CD so that he can take with him, and that becomes the foundation of what he's going to experience as a 13-year-old.
Yeah, and joining us also now is Delbert Macaulay, who we saw performing in that clip. Talk about what this sort of means to you. You're a little closer to 13 than I am. Talk about how that resonates, the things that you were talking about there.
Well, pretty much it's pretty much dead on. Being a teenager not too long ago, maybe 10 years ago, me being a teenager, I understand that I dealt with emotional struggles and finding out identity and things of that nature, and listening to these lyrics, it all made make sense.
You talked about in that particular selection the changes that happen at that age.
Yes, sir.
It's overwhelming, as I remember, because it all happens so fast and it all happens together.
Yes.
And that's not every age that's true. Talk about 13 again. In a lot of cultures, 13 is significant. Think about the Jewish culture. That's when boys get bar mitzvahed. We don't have those sort of formal structures in African American culture, but you seem to be, I think you seem to be arguing in some ways that maybe we should. Maybe we should think of it in a more structured way.
Absolutely, and that was one of the reasons of putting the CD together, because there was a study done by Center for Disease Control that indicated that 12-year-olds experience the greatest challenge in their life. And there's also a study done by Temple University that suggests that when you're 12 and 13, the greatest challenge that you experience comes from the influence of your peers. So there's a challenging time period that most 12-year-olds don't really know about, but if you educate them and give them a foundation as to what to expect, and that's what the CD addresses, the different issues that they will experience.
Talk about the collaboration between the two of you. How did that come about?
Well, I made some phone calls and wanted to find a local rapper. Called a company and went out and heard Knowledge perform. And he came in, he interviewed, and we selected him because he seemed to resonate what we were looking for. He was creative. He did it a cappella, so it was a good connection. We went with him.
What was your reaction when he said, "I want to have you help me with a spoken word album"?
Well, when my first initial reaction, because I have a lot of nephews. I have a lot of nieces as well, but thinking about 13-year-old boys, so I have a lot of nephews. And a lot of these young guys, a lot of these young boys that I just come across just day-to-day life, they really, really look up to me. So once I was presented with the opportunity, I auditioned like how we talked about, and I was presented with it, I thought about it. And like I said, I prayed on it because I wanted to make sure, because I'm a spiritual guy. So I prayed on it. I said, is this the right thing for me to do? It makes sense. I want to talk to the younger generation. My music outside of this speaks about positivity, and building esteem and character. So why not?
Yeah. Your name, Knowledge,
Yes, sir.
and the way you spell it. I think that's pretty cool. There's no K. It starts with now, right?
Yes.
Talk about how you came up with that.
Well, pretty much just exactly that. The whole just thinking about knowledge. I'm all about education and furthering what we know now, and thinking about alternatives. That's all I'm about. So once I had took in consideration and registered everything about me and what I want to do with my music, why not now?
Yeah.
Why should I wait later to influence? Why should I wait later to stand? Why should I wait later to speak?
Yeah.
I got to do it now.
Yeah. Talk about the rest of your music, the rest of your work. I'm not sure the viewers are all familiar with it.
Yeah. I go by the name Knowledge or Black Knowledge. Either one, I'm fine with it, as long as my name's called. But either way, but my whole goal is with my music. I've been writing music since I was about 8 years old. I'm 23 now, so I have a nice track record. I performed with some good acts like Master P. I performed in front of Master P before. I went to different auditions. I've done a lot of play with some prominent musicians. I've done some things, but my whole, really with my music, I really don't really care about the lights and the material things. I'm really more into character and what's really necessary. I don't think the new Jordans that's coming out this weekend is more necessary than you understanding that you're a true king.
Right.
And that's to sum that up, that's really what it is.
Yeah. Talk about, in the African American community, the importance of that male influence over this time in boys' life. I mean, that for a lot of kids is the time you start to struggle with that. For me, it was just after I was 13 that I lost my father, and that's true for lots of young African Americans. This seems to sort of step into that void a little bit.
Absolutely, because when we realize how many African American boys who were raised in a home minus the father, minus an uncle, they need some foundation to be set. And that was one of the focuses that was important for the CD. Lay a foundation that even though the fathers may not be there, the information that you need is important.
Yeah.
It's critical that you understand who you are and what your responsibility is in the community. So making decisions, becoming more mature, those kind of things play a critical role in their decision making. Who are their friends?
Yeah.
How do you make choices? Those kind of things.
Yeah. Are you able to sort of connect this with the places that 13-year-olds are? Schools, I would think, would be an obvious place, but there's some other.
Well, yes, we've started that. We're going to be partnering with a lot of schools locally and organizations that provide services for 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
And the message, of course, is letting them know that you are important, that you love, but you also have to be responsible.
Yeah, and that's a tricky balance, right? Getting them on that responsibility part is hard sometimes.
Right. And one of the important things I wanted to do when the CD was originally made 10 years ago, I had to come to the conclusion that I can't make the same CD.
Yeah.
So what can I do 10 years later? Well,
Right.
I have to make something that connects with a 12-year-old. And what is that? That's rap and a different music set.
Yeah.
So they get
So you feel like there's a big difference between what you connect with a kid this age now and 10 years ago.
Right.
The culture has changed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The pressure is different. The dynamics of what their experience is different.
Yeah.
The trauma that they experience, all that's different than 10 years ago.
It's worse in some ways
Absolutely.
than what it was before.
Right. So we're having a listening party on June the 22nd. It's going to be at 14060 Telegraph Road. That's in Redford, Michigan, 48239. It's going to start at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8. And we are encouraging the viewing audience to come out and be a part of the experience. We're going to have fun.
Yeah.
And if anyone wants any additional information, they can call me 313-215-5944, or they can email boysturning13@gmail.com.
All right. Congratulations on the work, and thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.